All right, I'm standing here talking to you on the evening of Tuesday, November 26th, which means Thanksgiving is just 2 days away. But by the time you see this, Thanksgiving will have come and gone. So you'll be probably bloated on leftovers. So we're going to do a healthy snack. And I've been meaning to do this for a while. I stocked my pantry for the winter. I got all kinds of beautiful rice, steel cut oats, beans, and I've been meaning to try this. Some millet. It's been on my radar for a long time. I've actually never cooked millet. I do a lot of quinoa. I do a lot of rice, steel cut oats, but we're going to do millet, which acts like a grain, but actually it's a grass seed. So it's low glycemic, gluten-free. Let's give it a try. And I am going to rely on a recipe that I printed off the web. We must give credit. This is from loveandlemons.com. Thank you, loveandlemons.com. We're going to follow this recipe. And the reason I want to follow this recipe, well, I'll show you at the board. We'll lay this right up with the ingredients, and I'll show you why I'm doing it. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Okay, let's get this flame on. Warm this pan up a little. Now, I've been reading up on millet a little because I haven't done it. This is not part of that recipe. They just cook it like rice with water. It is low glycemic, very nutritional. However, it does have some phytic acid and some anti-absorption properties for other nutrients. So what we're going to do is we're going to toast it for just a minute. And the recipe that's on paper calls for 2 cups of water. But being Thanksgiving time, I just made a gallon, huge pot of luscious, dark, flavorful chicken stock, okay? So we're going to use that. I'm bringing a bunch down to the Fun family. I'm going to use some in my soup. Of course, you cannot make a good turkey gravy without a rich homemade stock. So I made that in advance. We're going to toast this millet. Now, I suppose with the phytic acid, one of the things is you could soak it. I just decided to do this tonight, maybe in the future, because I'm going to experiment with this grain or seed. It's actually a grass seed. You might want to soak it for 24 hours to release some of the phytates. But I'm toasting it off, and like I said, it's 2 to 1. You're cooking it like a rice. 2 to 1 liquid, but instead of water, I'm going to use the chicken stock. So we had 1 cup of millet. Two cups of stock. Rest of that stock is going in my Blue Hubbard soup. And I wanted to get this on first because it cooks like a rice. It's going to cook about 15 minutes. We'll let it boil and then we'll turn it down. And meet me over at the marble. We'll talk about the rest of the ingredients. I'll get a cover on this, turn it down to a simmer. The millet's on the stove on a low simmer, 15 minutes. Be prepared to hear that beep as we go. I've got the timer on. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this, again, shout out, loveandlemons.com, is if you look at the name of the recipe, millet cakes with carrots and spinach. And I just happened to, we're just starting to dip below freezing on a regular basis now. I've been covering things at night, using tarps, using pieces of plastic, but it was time to just pull everything out of the garden. So I got all the baby spinach that I planted late season. It is absolutely beautiful. I took a spinach salad to work today. Look at that. So I pulled it all. The gardens are officially done. I mean, there's shallot and garlic in the ground for next year, but everything that can be harvested has been pulled. So spinach and carrot. These are late season planted carrots. Look, they're tiny. This was one outlier. I could have left these in the ground and mulched heavily and probably pulled them in the spring, but I figured the heck with it. Let's use them in this recipe. Especially these young ones. Let's give a QC. So sweet. This one's yellow, but it's a carrot, trust me. I had a bunch of multicolored. Okay, that's a little woodier, but it will cook down. Oh, it's tasty though. So millet with carrots and spinach. I'll cut all this up and weigh it. What else do we need? Salt and pepper, 2 cups of water. No, that was for the millet. We used the chicken stock. 1 shallot. Happen to have the shallot left over from the Man Myths weekend, from the Perver sauce. Garlic, 2024 garlic, hanging in the basement. Absolutely fantastic. Curry powder, how could you go wrong with that? Got a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt, Greek unsweetened yogurt. I saw this recipe online and I knew I had everything in the house except cilantro. But I did pull some fresh parsley. I'll use that instead. So what I'm going to do is, it says 6 ounces of spinach. I have to get it off the roots. So I'll snip these and weigh them. I've got the scale here. I'll get my 6 ounces. I'll chop my carrots and then we'll get to work. Okay, the millet's done. I moved it to the back burner, but I have not removed the cover. We're just going to let it rest. I'm going to put a few teaspoons, maybe 3 teaspoons of olive oil, the light olive oil, in this cast iron skillet. Get that just to shimmering, and I did all my prep here. Here's the board. We're going to start with our shallot. Then we'll put in our carrots and spinach, saute those for a few minutes, and then the garlic. So let's get that oil going, and as soon as it shimmers up a little bit, coats the bottom of the cast iron, I'll go right in with the shallot. Man Myth was here over a month ago now, and this shallot is good as new. What you want to do is learn about your different produce, how to store it, how it keeps, where it keeps. Some things you want in the fridge, some you don't. I mean, we bought this over a month ago for a Paravi sauce, and it's just dandy. Just been sitting out of the fridge. Do not refrigerate your alliums or your tomatoes. Throwing off that fragrance beautifully. And now I can put in the carrots and spinach. Now the carrots, if you notice, they're not chopped. It did say to shred them. Okay, so I used my cheese grater that I would use for Parmigiano Reggiano. So let's put those in. You know, it's always a little bit sad for me to see, you know, like this spinach has just been in the ground. I've been babying it, covering it at night. It's always a little sad to see things go, the season ends, but what a way to celebrate it, huh? Alright, that noise in the background was the Man Myth and his sister calling in. So I had to take a short break, but we're back on this, and now I'm going to throw the garlic in. I was just talking about that shallot when you guys called. Okay, this smells incredible. Again, I was saying the spinach and the carrot, no fresher. And a little sad to see the season end, but what a way to wrap it up. Let's get our curry powder in there, a couple of teaspoons. Like the old Justin Wilson gag, you don't believe that's a teaspoon? 2 teaspoons curry powder. The fragrance. A little bit of salt. Crackle black. And we'll just cook this for 30 seconds to a minute, and then we're going to add it to our millet. Our millet has had plenty of time to rest. Let's take a look. Beautiful absorption. Look at that. So let's fluff it up. Now again, I'm new to the millet. Let me give it a QC. Well familiar with the quinoa. Oh, I like it. Oh yes. This is going to be big on my agenda. Nutty. Oh. That's just the chicken stuff. I haven't even added any flavorings yet. But there's no time like the present. So let's get all this in. Turn the flame off. I love cooking in cast iron, but that is heavy. It's a workout. So we'll get this all in. Our veg, aromatics, spinach. That's still hot. Okay, I want to get every last bit of this in there. Scrape the cast iron. There we go. Let's give that a good mix with our millet. Okay, I have to keep going to the paper. This is a brand new recipe. loveandlemons.com. Let's see where we're at. Transfer to the bowl with millet. We did it. Now we're going to add the yogurt and egg. These are going to be cakes. We're putting them in the oven. I have not turned the oven on because they get refrigerated to chill up for a little bit, half an hour or so. Now the millet probably should have cooled a little more before I add the egg, but I think the yogurt will help. 1/4 cup of yogurt. That should cool things down a bit. I don't want to cook the egg. We want it as a binder. Get all that yogurt in there. Let's mix this all around. That should cool things down a little bit. And actually, let me get this out of the hot pan. Short break, shut camera. By the time I clean up a little, move everything over, and put this in a bowl, it'll be cool enough to add the egg. All right, I got things tidied up a bit. I think this is cooling down enough, so let's take our egg. Give it a light beat. This is going to bind everything together, and we're going to form our little cakes. Get the egg in there. And now, yeah, no danger of that cooking. It's just going to hold everything together nicely. And let's get out a cookie sheet, a little baking sheet, put a little parchment on it, and form our cakes. Now, a 1/3 cup measure should give us the right size cake. So let's use 1/3 cup. And we want them about a 1/2 inch thick. All right, little cakes. This is beautiful because I'm going to have these for lunch tomorrow at work. This is going to make a good amount. 1/3 cup. Flatten them down 1/2 inch or so. All right, I'll finish them up. I'm going to pop them in the fridge, and I'll see you when we're ready to fry. Okay, gang, the oven hit 350. Now what I did, these cakes have been in the refrigerator. That lets the egg solidify a little, so they should hold together. And then I flipped them over very gently. And now, I fried the veggie in the regular light olive oil, but now I'm just going to drizzle a little of this Greek extra V. This deep, dark green olive oil. It's peppery, it's pungent. And then we're going to throw them in 350 for, I don't know, I think it said like 30 minutes. I have to look at the paper. But I will see you when they come out. Let me back this up a little so I don't do a pepperoni. In we go, 350. I am looking forward. Okay, these guys are done. They've been in about 25 minutes. Let's pop them out. Now, the only thing I didn't do from the written recipe, I did not add the cilantro, or I said I was going to add parsley, but I did not. But they smell incredible. Now, I made 11 of them. It's getting a little late here. It's 10 p.m. Not too bad, but I do have to go to sleep. I've got work tomorrow, more cooking, and some traveling. But let me have 2. I've got some for lunch. Now, they talk about using a little yogurt and they flavor it. I used what I had, yogurt, for the recipe, but I happen to have a little sour cream here. So let's see what these things taste like. Millet cakes with spinach and carrots, shallot, and these are my end of the season spinach and carrots. Last of the harvest. Oh, yes. Oh, these are great. Oh, man. The curry powder. I'm a big fan of curry. Not everybody is. I get it. But the curry powder, the sauteed spinach with shallots and carrots, and the millet. I'm on board. Stuff is phenomenal. So earthy. This is great. All right. I'm still sitting here on Tuesday. It's 10 p.m. I was going to say, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, but that's come and gone. So here we go into that, season's greetings. Here comes the mayhem. I'll see you all for the next episode. Come on, let's do it. It's 9:30 on Sunday morning. I'm still sitting in bed. Unusual for me. Drove back from Philly yesterday. Had an absolute blast of a time with the Fun family. Thank you all for the incredible hospitality. And I'm sitting here doing the final edits to get this up today. Nice cup of joe, sitting up in bed. I killed all my leftovers when I got home last night with one exception. My bourbon pecan pie. Sorry, Meryl. We took the belt home. I mean, I was the judge, but whatever.